So ULTA stock got absolutely crushed yesterday, and the gap close reversal to fill the gap below strategy worked once again. With that being said, yesterday live on stream, I ended up buying those put options when it rejected that 425, that previous closing price level, and then I ended up selling too soon for a 70% return, which is still a lot, especially considering that I sized in very heavily on those. At the peak, I let some ride. I had a small position left to ride. I was up 265%, and I sold the rest of my contracts for a 207% return. I did also buy SPY puts at open when it was at 415 yesterday, and I made a 108% return on those. The green streak is going strong. My portfolio is currently up 75% in the past week alone. Ever since I've gotten into New York City, it's been nothing but green days, and I've been getting up extremely early, 6 a.m. every single day. So that has been affecting my night schedule a little bit, as I've been going to bed a lot earlier as well, which is why there was no video yesterday. There is going to be a recap video on ULTA coming soon. Right now, I'm going to keep you updated on the best setups to be trading at the best prices. We're going to be going over SPY, ULTA. We're going to be discussing Tesla, and I think I found the next stock that is about to crash. I think it's going to be EOG stock. So let's get right into it. So first things first, let's talk about the upcoming, updated price action analysis. Let's talk SPY. Let's talk market direction. What's the current situation? Like I'd stated in yesterday's video, I explained to you guys that I believe this is going to be a bull trap, which it was, and I played puts yesterday at open, made a very nice, very, very nice profitable day. Big enough to literally cover not only the cost of this trip, but a year's rent in a nice place in Manhattan. So yesterday was a big day, and it's going to be a big week. I'll tell you, it's going to be a big week. We got a very highly predictable setup on SPY. My target for SPY, I think we can hit 405 today. There's a gap to fill at 405.31. I think we can hit 405.31 by today. And if that cracks, I think into tomorrow, I could see SPY dropping to 397.37 tomorrow to fill this gap below. So I think puts are going to print basically towards open. It's a little bit too early to say for tomorrow, but I think basically it's going to be kind of the same situation for today and tomorrow. I think we're going to look for a morning rip, right? Look for that morning rip and then buy puts towards that morning rip. And I think the SPY is going to be able to crack yesterday's lows. Yesterday's lows was at 406.93. I think we're going to fill the gap at 405.38. We got to see how it reacts at that gap fill level. But basically, the reason why I think this is going to occur and why it's going to be a bloodbath for the rest of the week is because I'm studying the patterns. SPY had strong support, very strong support right here at $416 to 415, 415 to 416. Once it cracked, it sold off hard for new 52-week lows shortly after cracking to 380s, right? It ripped back up to previous support, which is normal. And if that previous support reacts as a resistance, which it did for the SPY 3 days in a row, it reacted as a resistance level. That means it's going to be a bull trap, and the macro price action is going to kick in, and the micro is going to kick in with it, and it's just going to get absolutely crushed, and it's going to start, going back down to fill the gaps below, right? We spoke about this in yesterday's video. Members got to watch me trade this live on stream where I absolutely crushed puts the first hour in the open. Man, if I were to just hold one more hour, key thing to keep in mind, if you're extremely bearish in a situation and it has a big move in your favor very quickly towards the open, one thing I noticed is a great time to get out is around 11:30 a.m. Keep that in mind. 11:30 a.m. 11:30 a.m. is a great time to get out of your positions. In terms of locking in key profits and protecting your position, 9:50 a.m. 9:50, 9:55 a.m. is a great time to be locking in. And then if you want to leave some on to ride for the bigger move, or if you're confident it will keep going within your favor, 11:30 a.m. is a key time to get out. So, basically in terms of the analysis, I'm seeing patterns, right? And the pattern that I'm seeing is this. This is what I'm seeing. See this candle right here, this little trend reversal candlestick right here, and then what does SPY do? It goes down, right? If you just compare these two candles to these two candles, very, very similar. And you can see on the third day, which is now be the third day comparing this to the pattern, on the third day, SPY dropped lower. It closed right here, so I want you to compare this candle to this candle right here, very similar at the same price basically. Next day it gaps down. SPY didn't gap down yesterday. My bad, it actually did gap down yesterday. But so yeah, you can see it gaps down, it sells off hard, gaps down, sells off hard, and then the next day, you can just see, it didn't have too much of an upside move from the open. Right here, it actually closed. The previous closing price was at 398.17. The stock opened up, SPY opened up at 450, so it had a nice gap up, and then the high was 406, so it had a quick morning rip. It had a quick morning rip, just like it did yesterday, and then it sold off hard and cracked the lows. So I think we're going to see a similar move where we can have a quick morning rip, but the overall direction is we crack later throughout the day, we crack 406.93, and then we fill this gap at 405.31. That's what I personally believe is going to happen. So what would be the best prices to buy the puts? So best prices to buy the puts obviously is going to be, we're going to call it $415. It's going to be very hard for SPY to rip back above 415 in my opinion, due to it cracking support. It cracked the 410 support. It dropped to 407s, nearly filling the gap in the 405s, right? So I'm going to have to lower it. I would say the new best entry would be towards this 412.50. 412.50 to 413 would be the new best entry. And in terms of key breakdown and in terms of when it takes a hit, if we see something like this again, and I think we're going to see something like this again personally, if we see something like this again where it just cracks through the previous closing price, and then on the 5-minute chart it turns the previous closing price into resistance, if you see that happen on the SPY where it just cracks through the previous closing price and it turns it into resistance, that means that key breakdown, and it takes out 50 and it takes out pre-market lows. That means that key breakdown is going to get absolutely crushed. It's going to continue to sell off for about another hour typically. So if you're in on puts and SPY fills the gap, I would say give it about 5 minutes. And if you see it reacting as a resistance, it looks strong, it looks bearish, continue to ride out on the puts. But of course, lock in some profits. Like, don't ride out full size, right? Yeah, that's what to look for in terms of key breakdowns. If we can crack 409.59, then if we can crack 409.59 and turn it into resistance, we're looking at a crack of 407 to fill the gap at 405.31. And then my theory is, this is very important, and I could see this happening today. I think we're going to see a very similar move to yesterday. My theory is when SPY fills this gap at 405.31, and if it's sitting around this price at around 11:30 to 12:30 p.m., 1 p.m., my theory is we're going to have a reversal. We're going to have a short-term reversal like we did yesterday where SPY rips back up, then it sells off a little bit into the open. So in terms of the plays that I'm seeing on the put side, wait for the morning spike. If you see the resistance coming in, it's forming lower highs. So this is a good example right here. Resistance is coming in, it forms the lower highs, it starts to break down, great resistance. And then in terms of even adding, if it cracks the previous closing price, look to add some. I will say though, since it's at a lower price, adding at the previous closing price isn't too attractive. You can try it though. But I'm going to be focused on buying puts on the morning rip once we get the backside of the move. If we don't get the backside of the move, then I don't buy the puts. So the backside of the move is it forms resistance. It starts to break down. It forms the lower highs. It starts to break down. That's when I buy the puts, right? I wait for the backside. I don't just blindly buy puts into a morning spike on the first red candle. In terms of the entries, I told you the best overall entry is going to be 412.50 to 413. Absolute best 415. But 413 looks phenomenal. That 413 right here towards this pre-market lows, that looks phenomenal. And then I think we'll be able to fill to go to 409.59 to fill this gap. So there's a gap to fill at 409.59. If it holds within 5 to 10 minutes, it's going to rip back up, so you're going to want to lock in profits. If it cracks, it is going to sell off, in my opinion, to 405.31. So I want to bring some awareness. At some point, I think we're going to see a nice reversal. That's another opportunity if you do want to play that. I'm personally not too interested, too attracted to it. The reason why is I don't like betting against macro price action. And what the micro and the macro is telling me, overall trend direction, even though it's probably going to have a nice little reversal if it fills that gap today, overall trend direction is SPY is going lower. I could see this going to $397 tomorrow. So buying calls just aren't too attractive when we're in the process, the keyword is process, of a bull trap. We're in another process of the bull trap. It struggled 3 days in a row. It's forming the bearish candlesticks. I showed you the pattern. I showed you the bearish confirmations. There's 2 gaps to fill below, right? It's bearish. This is very bearish. And even if I think SPY looks bullish, even if I think it can go up for the micro, I'm really not too interested and too attractive into playing calls for a quick micro scalp, right? So that's, you can take that how you want to. That's just how I think. You can trade it how you want to. But I do think personally, if we get a drop to 405.31 today, around 11:30 to 12 p.m., I think we can have a little reversal where we rip back up to, I would say, about 408.50. How am I getting that target? Because yesterday it ripped back up right towards the previous closing price. The new previous closing price is 409.59. I would say we get a rip back up to around 408.50. So that's my thoughts. That's my analysis. Use bullish confirmations if you're going to buy the dip. If you do buy the dip, just know you're betting against the bull trap that's in the process of the making, and just know SPY is going to be heading lower into tomorrow most likely. So that's my thoughts. That's my analysis on the SPY in terms of how I think this is going to play out. Use the confirmations. In terms of ULTA at this point, I'm just waiting for an opportunity to buy some leaps on this. I'm really not too interested in day trading. I don't think it's going to be as volatile. It's not going to be as attractive. I crushed it twice back to back, buying puts, 22% return here. Then I 10x'd it, 200% return the second time, but sold the vast majority for 70%, right? This was all alerted real time, live on stream of me actually executing my plan. So not only do I execute my plan, I share the plan with everybody. I share my entire plan, my entire process before I get in the trade. And then after that, I trade it live on the spot. Members get to see me trade it live. See, these are my positions right here. People get to see me enter and exit my positions, just like what you're seeing right here, except it's live trading every single day at market open. And then I do the recap. So it's the entire thing, man. It's like the real deal. It's like no one's really doing it like that. So it shows you of me documenting the entire process of that trade. But anyways, ULTA, it looks bearish. It really does. I think we're gonna go a little bit lower. It's just there's more new attractive plays. So I'm kind of on the sidelines for ULTA. I already crushed it. The next thing I want to do with that is buy some leap puts, just waiting for the right confirmation. So I'm not too interested in ULTA at the moment. I think there's gonna be better setups. SPY is looking kind of attractive. EOG is my new watch. This could be the new ULTA in terms of that series that I've been doing where I've been crushing it, saying this stock's about to crash, and then it crashes like K stock, like a ULTA stock, right? If you've been following those trading plans and waiting for the confirmations, you should be absolutely crushing it, man. You should be absolutely crushing it. We had it people join Traders Society yesterday because they crushed the ULTA, because they followed the plan. They stick with the plan, they follow it. It doesn't matter. It matters is I give you the trading plan, right? And then you wait for the trading plan to react how it's supposed to react, and then you get in on the position. So if ULTA didn't react bearish and it just kept going up, the plan is still relevant. We wait for it to react bearish, right? So you just gotta wait and set the price alerts, and the opportunity was there. You could have used the analysis twice back to back. But EOG, just know this stock has wide spreads, and they're gonna be wider than ULTA, and the volume is gonna be light. So due to that reason, I can't really say which option contract I'm going to be buying. I got to study the volume and study how the contracts move. So I got to see on this, but I am interested in playing puts. I am interested in playing puts towards market open. The best price will be the previous closing price at 139.93. I'm probably willing to get in a little bit earlier if we start forming some resistance. I'm very, very bearish on this stock. It just hit all-time highs. Similar setup to this whole ULTA situation, very, very similar setup. And just overall, I've been studying how this stock reacts when it forms this candlestick, this trend reversal candlestick right here. This is now the second day in a row where it's failed to break above all-time highs. You got a bearish candle here. You got a gap to fill below right here. You got a gap to fill below right here. You got a gap to fill below right here, right? So see how I'm focusing on stocks at key resistance rather than key oversold like I did with ULTA. The ones that nobody is talking about, they're all telling you to buy these oversold stocks or whatever it is that they're telling you to do. I don't watch these other people. I just do what works best for me. But anyways, we're due for a gap fill to 137. If it cracks 137, then we sell off to 134. So puts can print fairly nicely on these. You just got to be careful because the spreads are wide. So when spreads are wide, I go with the last price filled. I also go with the upper, the middle side of the ask, the middle of the channel towards the ask, and the lower of the channel towards the bid. And I don't size in immediately fully. Whatever I want to put in, I don't do it right away. I average into them. You're going to be instantly down. Like on ULTA yesterday, I was instantly down 20%. And then just like that, instantly up like 60% very, very quickly. It's because the spreads are wide. So anyways, EOG, we're looking very bearish. The previous closing price, if you see a rejection at 139.93, look to buy puts for today. If it cracks 137, we're headed to 133 to 134 today, possibly even 132.50. So that's a key setup that I'm looking at. Other stocks on my radar, Lucid. Lucid looks very, very bearish. It's got that same candle as EOG, and it's got that 2 days where it's just failing to break out. Very similar pattern, right? There was a gap to fill on Lucid right here at $20.28. It filled the gap 2 days in a row. It's looking bearish, so it's having a gap close reversal just like ULTA. And Lucid is on track to fill this gap at 1889. It's looking very bearish. If 1889 cracks, puts are going to print and it's going to drop to 17s. It's going to be tough for it to do that today, but by tomorrow, I can see that occurring. I'm very, very bearish on Lucid stock, gap close reversal to fill the gap below. Keep an eye on that one as well. And remember, the plan is, in terms of puts, is to play these early into the morning when we get strong rejections at previous closing prices, when we get strong rejections at resistance, strong rejections at morning spikes. Lucid's on my top watch. If you see, once you see 1950 react to strong resistance, you can look to play puts on that. We're just looking so bearish, man. We really are. Like Tesla, I'm just sharing with you guys, some thoughts on what I think of some of these. I mean, EOG is my favorite. Lucid's definitely up there. Tesla looks like it wants to fill the gap tomorrow. To fill the gap at 707. That's where I see it's heading most likely today. All we got to do is crack that 730 support. We take out 730s. We fill the gap at 707. Overall looking bearish. Wait for the morning spikes. And then just everything, man, like everything is just overall looking bearish. So there was one more stock. It was NEO. NEO was looking fairly bearish. Let's take a look at NEO. So in terms of NEO, just like Lucid, it filled this gap. Basically 2 days it failed to break out, and you got a death candle, very, very bearish. So NEO had a gap to fill at 1813. It reacted as resistance. And then, it closed lower than that. It's having a gap close reversal. You got a bearish death candle, extremely bearish confirmation on a NEO. Whenever it forms that candle, it likes to sell off the next day. What is it that I'm talking about right here? See how it forms that same similar candle, sells off the next day? Like, it's towards key resistance. It filled the gap. It's having a reversal 2 days now in a row. NEO is very, very bearish. I'm saving one of the best for last year. So the key for NEO is, it needs to crack 1740. You see it crack 1740, we're going to fill the gap to 1657 by tomorrow. NEO is very, very bearish. So we got to wait. We got to see how it reacts. We crack 1757. We're going to be on track to fill that lower gap into Friday, right? So I'm not saying they're going to fill today, but it does look like they are going to fill tomorrow. So that's my thoughts. That's my analysis. We're about to crush it on the live trading stream once again within Trader Society. If you want to join us and trade live with us at Market Open, that's going to be the first link down below in the description. I'm telling you guys, we got some people getting absolutely crazy results. I'm going to be meeting up with one of my students today. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to meet up with everybody. I got over 15 requests so far. It's just not possible, but I can see myself moving here in the near future. But yeah, you guys are absolutely crushing it, man. Big shout out to some of the members within the chat. Just got a message from Gundy. He said he made 2 times of the cost of the lifetime cost of Trader Society his first day. Way undervalued, much appreciated, man. Absolutely killing it, man. Big shout out to him. We got so many people in here absolutely crushing it, man. And we're going to keep crushing it, man. I'm telling you guys, this is going to be a phenomenal week ahead. I'm going to finish this week very, very strong. I'm going to be put option focused. I'm going to be continuing to trade these plans, and I'm going to be continuing to absolutely crushing it, guys. So yeah, that is going to be wrapping up this overall lesson. As you can see right here in terms of the portfolio, so this was the peak on the contracts for ULTA, 265% return. So if you put 1,000 in, that's, you know, that's over a $3,000 profit. It's like $3,650 profit. And you could see right here, 75% return within the past week. So that's going to be wrapping up this lesson, guys. I've already made a year's, like literally a year's rent just off the trades throughout the past week if I were to lease here in Manhattan. So it's absolutely crazy what you can do trading these options. But yeah, if you do want to join Trader Society, it's going to be that first link down below in the description. You can get started trading with us live at market open. All the information is explained on the page. It's a one-time fee. As soon as you pay, it's lifetime access and you get instant access. So yeah, I will see you guys in the live trading stream here shortly.